My husband told me, if something happens to you in childbirth, you'd want our baby to be safe with my sister, right? What he didn't know was that, by the time he said that, I had already read the legal document where he and his sister tried to make her the baby's guardian, before I even gave birth. And I'd already shown it to a lawyer. Before I get into it, if you like long Reddit-style stories about toxic relationships, pregnancy, baby drama, custody, and legal revenge, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It really helps more people find these full stories. I'm 29, my soon-to-be ex-husband, Tyler, is 31. We've been together 7 years, married for 3. I'm currently 8 months pregnant with our first child, a little boy. We tried for this baby. He wasn't an accident. He wasn't the result of carelessness. We tracked ovulation, did blood work, cried over negative tests, and celebrated when that second line finally showed up. For the first few months, Tyler was perfect. He went to every appointment, held my hand during blood draws, rubbed my back when I threw up, and talked to my belly every night. He'd say things like, "You're going to have the best mom in the world, little guy. I'll protect you both no matter what. We're going to be such a good team." I believed him. The first cracks showed when my pregnancy got labeled high risk. I have a clotting disorder I've managed since I was a teenager. It means I'm on blood thinners, I bruise easily, and pregnancy puts me at a higher risk of complications. Blood clots, preeclampsia, emergency C-section. My OB referred me to a high-risk specialist, maternal fetal medicine. They laid it all out. More appointments, extra monitoring, a birth plan that involved the possibility of early induction or emergency surgery if things went sideways. I left that appointment scared but grateful. I felt like I was in good hands. Tyler reacted differently. He went quiet on the ride home, gripping the steering wheel too tight. When we got home, he blurted, "I'm not going to watch you die." I blinked. "Okay," I said slowly, "I'm not planning on dying." "You heard her," he snapped. "Blood clots, stroke, emergency surgery." I Googled it. Women die from this all the time. What am I supposed to do if something happens to you? I took a breath. "Then we do what every family does," I said. "We rely on each other. We let the doctors do their jobs. We make a plan, but we don't assume the worst." He shook his head. "You're not taking this seriously enough," he said. "You always act like your body isn't a big deal. You do this with your periods, your clotting stuff, everything. You minimize it." I was tired, nauseous, and bloated. "I'm not minimizing it," I said. "I'm trying not to have a panic attack." That night he stayed up late on his laptop, reading horror stories. Every time I woke up to pee, I saw the blue glow of the screen and his frown. The next week, he suggested we talk about the worst-case scenario. "I need to know what you want if something happens," he said. "Like, if the doctors say it's you or the baby." My stomach dropped. "I don't want to talk about that," I said. "We have to," he insisted. "I can't stand there and decide alone." We did talk about it. I cried, he cried. We said things no couple preparing for a baby wants to say. I told him if it came down to a true either-or, I'd want them to save the baby. I also told him that 99% of the time, that dramatic scenario isn't how it really plays out. Then he asked a different question. "If you died," he said, voice low, "who would you want to raise him?" I blinked through tears. "You," I said. "You're his father." He nodded. "Yeah, obviously," he said. "I mean, who would help me? Who'd be like the female figure, the main caregiver, the constant?" "My mom," I said without thinking. "She raised 3 of us on her own. She lives 15 minutes away." His jaw tightened. "I was thinking my sister," he said. "You know how good she is with kids." His sister, Amanda, is 35, married with 2 kids under 5. She's a kindergarten teacher. She is good with kids. I like her. But the way he said it made something in me bristle. We don't have to decide that right now, I said. And it wouldn't be just one person. There's your family and mine. He dropped it, or I thought he did. Over the next month, he started bringing Amanda into more and more conversations about the baby. We should ask Amanda about car seats. She knows the safest ones. Amanda says newborns should never sleep in your bed, by the way. Amanda thinks we should do this kind of formula if breastfeeding doesn't work. All fine if mildly annoying. Everyone has opinions about babies. The weird part was when he started making jokes that weren't jokes. If you bleed out, at least he'll have 2 parents already experienced with diapers, he'd say, laughing with Amanda on FaceTime. My sister will just slide right in. Amanda would roll her eyes and say, "Don't be dark," and I'd force a smile while my heart hammered. One day I said, "Can we chill on the death jokes? I'm the one actually carrying him. It's not funny." He sighed. "You're so sensitive lately," he said. "I'm trying to cope. Humor is my coping." It wasn't funny to me. Then my OB put me on modified bed rest. My blood pressure was creeping up. I was swelling more. They didn't want me on my feet all day. They strongly suggested I cut my work hours, rest more, and monitor my symptoms. The same week, Tyler started talking a lot about paperwork. "I talked to HR about my paternity leave," he said. "They said because you're high risk, we should get some stuff in writing in case you're incapacitated." I thought of the previous story we told about power of attorney and felt a knot in my gut. "What stuff?" I asked. "Standard forms," he said. "Like medical power of attorney, guardianship stuff, emergency contacts, legal adulting. Boring but important." "Okay," I said cautiously. "If we do anything like that, I want my own lawyer to look at it. I'm not signing anything by myself right now." He laughed. "Babe, it's boilerplate," he said. "Lawyers just copy-paste this stuff. You're overthinking." But I held my ground. "I'm not signing anything I don't fully understand," I said. "Not when it comes to the baby." The next few weeks, the pressure ramped up. Tyler's mom and sister started dropping comments too. His mom, "You know Amanda would take him in a heartbeat if anything happened. She's basically practice mom for everyone's kids already." Amanda, "I mean, logistically it makes sense. The kids would grow up like siblings, built-in playmates. We're already set up for the whole school and kid routine." Me, "Nothing is happening to me." Them, awkward silence, then a subject change. My OB scheduled an induction for 38 weeks to minimize risk. It felt far away and terrifying at the same time. Then one afternoon, while Tyler was at work and I was folding tiny onesies on the couch, the doorbell rang. It was a courier with an envelope that needed my signature. "It's from law firm," he said, "just acknowledging receipt." I signed the little electronic pad, took the envelope and sat down. "Law firm." I opened it. Inside was a copy of a document titled Temporary Guardianship Agreement, Minor Child Unborn. My vision tunneled. It had our full names, addresses, due date, baby's last name. It said things like, "In the event that me is incapacitated, experiences severe postpartum complications, or dies as a result of childbirth or related medical issues, I hereby designate Amanda as the primary physical guardian of my child, baby's name, to act in loco parentis with full authority over day-to-day care and decision-making." There were paragraphs about emotional continuity, pre-existing sibling-like bonds with Amanda's children, and the father, Tyler, supporting this arrangement as being in the best interest of the child. Near the bottom were 3 signature lines. Mother, print and sign. My name typed, with a scribble that looked kind of like my signature but sloppier. Father, print and sign. Tyler's full name, clearly his signature. Guardian, print and sign. Amanda's name and her neat teacher handwriting. My hands shook so hard the paper rattled. I did not sign this. I never sat with a lawyer. I never authorized anything. I'd never even seen this document until that moment. There was a sticky note on the front from the law firm. As requested, enclosed please find fully executed copy of temporary guardianship agreement for your records. I read that line 5 times. Fully executed for your records. Someone had created this, brought it to a lawyer, had it signed and filed it, all without me. My phone buzzed. Tyler, hey, everything okay? How's the little man doing? I stared at the screen. Then I took photos of every page of that document, front and back, and emailed them to myself from an account he didn't know I had. Next, I called the law firm. Hi, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I just received a copy of a temporary guardianship agreement naming me as the mother, my husband as the father, and my sister-in-law as the guardian. It appears to have my signature on it. I did not sign this document. I need to know who came in for this appointment and what was presented to you. There was a long pause. Ma'am, I can't disclose client details over the phone, the woman said carefully. But if you believe your signature was forged, that is a serious matter. I am the alleged client, I said. I read her my full name, date of birth, address, the file number on the document. She hesitated. I see the file, she said. The intake lists both you and your husband, but the only person who came into the office was your husband and his sister. The notary recorded those 2 signatures in person, and one that he said was obtained previously from you. My stomach flipped. Previously from me, I repeated. It was. Ma'am, she said, voice lower now, I would strongly recommend you contact your own legal counsel. If your signature was used without your consent, that is fraud. We may need to void this document and make a note in our records. I thanked her, hung up, and immediately called the same family lawyer I'd used once before for unrelated contract work. I knew she handled custody cases too. She fit me in the next morning. By the time Tyler got home that night, I had the guardianship agreement back in its envelope, tucked in my pregnancy folder like nothing had happened. He walked in, kissed my forehead, kissed my bump. How are my 2 favorite people? He asked, all charm and warmth. I almost threw up. We ate dinner. He talked about work. I nodded and made automatic small talk, my mind buzzing. Then casually he said, oh, by the way, you might get some paperwork in the mail this week. Legal stuff. Don't freak out. It's just worst-case scenario planning. I looked at him. What kind of legal stuff? I asked. He shrugged. You know, he said, not meeting my eyes. Guardianship, if something goes wrong, it's just so things are easier. The lawyer said it's standard for high-risk pregnancies. I held his gaze. Okay, I said lightly. When it gets here, we'll sit down and go over it together. He smiled, relieved. Yeah, he said, sure, we'll do that. He thought I was still in the dark. The next morning, I waddled into my lawyer's office with the envelope and a knot in my stomach. Her name is Jordan. She's in her 40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes, and zero patience for bullshit. She read every line quietly while I sat there twisting my fingers. Finally, she looked up. This, she said, tapping the paper, is not normal planning. This is a very specific, very loaded document that tries to give your sister-in-law a massive amount of control over your child if anything happens to you. I didn't sign it, I said. I swear I did not sign that. I believe you, she said. The signature looks off, and even if you had signed it, the way this was handled is a problem. Your husband and his sister went to a lawyer and presented themselves as your proxies for a decision only you can make. I swallowed. What does this mean legally? I asked. It means your husband and his sister have already tried to make her the default backup parent, she said. If something happened to you, he would still be the father, yes, but this document positions her as the primary physical guardian. Practically speaking, it gives them a blueprint to sideline your family. My mom, I whispered. He's trying to cut my mom out. Jordan nodded slowly. Think of it this way, she said. If you died without any guardianship documents, a court would look at your husband first, then at extended family, including your mother. There would be a process. With this document, if it were ever used, they'd say, well, this is what mom wanted, and wave your forged signature around as proof. My vision blurred with tears. What do I do? I asked. First, we notify the law firm that the document is invalid because your signature was forged, she said. They're already on edge. They don't want to be part of fraud. We ask them to put in writing that you were not present and did not sign in front of them. She jotted notes. Second, we draft your own document, she continued. One that clearly states your wishes, that if something happens to you, your husband remains the primary parent, but any backup guardianship is shared between both sides of the family or goes to a neutral party of your choosing. That way, if this ever goes to court, there's a document with your real signature that counters this one. Third, she said, looking me dead in the eyes, we have to talk about whether you feel safe with this man, because forging your name on legal baby paperwork while you're pregnant and high risk is not a misunderstanding. It's a line, and he stepped over it. I sat there, hands on my huge belly, and tried to picture raising a baby with someone who thought this was okay. I couldn't. That night, I started recording. I turned on the voice memo app on my phone and put it face down on the coffee table before we sat down to talk about paperwork. Hey, I said, as casually as I could, did that legal stuff come in the mail yet? He looked a little nervous. Not yet, he said. It might show up tomorrow or the next day, don't stress. I got up, waddled to the bedroom, came back with the manila envelope. You mean this? I asked. His face drained of color. Where did you get that? He asked. A courier dropped it off, I said. Yesterday, I opened it. I called the law firm. I know you and Amanda went there without me. I know there's a fake version of my signature on this paper. His mouth opened and closed. It's not fake, he said weakly. You signed something at the OB's office. You must have forgotten. No, I said calmly, I didn't. He switched tactics. Okay, look, maybe the notary messed up, but it's not a big deal, he said quickly. It's just in case something happens. You're overreacting because of hormones. I held up the document. This says, I read, that if I die or am incapacitated, you and Amanda think she should be the primary physical guardian. It says nothing about my mother. It says nothing about my family. It says nothing about shared custody. It makes it sound like I handpicked your sister as the real mom backup. That's not planning. That's erasing me and my family while I'm still alive. He bristled. Don't make it sound sinister, he said. You're high risk. You could die. I'm being responsible. Amanda has a stable home, experience, a better neighborhood. Your mom is older, she's single, she doesn't have the energy. Stop talking about my mother like that, I snapped. You don't get to decide she's not good enough for her grandson. I'm the father, he shot back. I get to decide what's best for him. You get to decide your part, I said. You don't get to draw my signature and pretend my part doesn't exist. He scoffed. You're being dramatic, he said. I knew you'd freak out, that's why I didn't show you until it was done. I didn't want you to stress the baby out. You forged my name on a legal document and I'm the one stressing the baby out, I asked. Are you listening to yourself? He threw his hands up. What was I supposed to do? He snapped. Just hope for the best. Walk into the hospital with no plan if you bleed out. The lawyer said it's better to have something in place. The lawyer also told me, I said, that he never met me, that you brought this in and told them I'd signed it already. That is fraud, Tyler, not planning, fraud. He froze. You talked to him? He asked. And I talked to my lawyer, I added. She's drafting a revocation and a statement. This paper is invalid. It's evidence now, not a plan. His face twisted into something ugly. So you're lawyering up, he said bitterly. While you're pregnant, seriously. I'm protecting myself and our son, I said. From you, from your sister, from anyone who thinks they can move my name around on paper like I don't exist. He laughed, a short, harsh sound. You think some judge is going to side with a hormonal, high-risk pregnant woman over a father who was just trying to make sure his kid is safe? He sneered. Good luck with that. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt something inside me go cold. This isn't about a judge, I said quietly. This is about trust, and you just killed it. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard a picture rattled on the wall. On my phone, the recording app kept quietly running. The next week was a blur. Jordan drafted a formal letter to the law firm, stating, I had never signed or consented to the guardianship agreement. I considered my signature on it to be forged. I was requesting that they void the document and note in their records that it should not be relied upon. They responded in writing. Document voided, file annotated, acknowledgement that I had not been present at the signing. She also drafted my own guardianship preference document, which I signed in front of a notary, fully lucid and very much alive. In it I wrote that, if I died, I wanted Tyler to remain primary parent as long as he was fit and present. If Tyler was unwilling or unable to parent alone, I wanted my mother and my brother to be considered first as guardians before any collateral relatives. No document bearing my name, but not backed by a notarized, witnessed signature should be considered valid. Jordan also filed a basic separation of finances document. I opened my own bank account, separated some savings my parents had gifted me for the baby, and made sure my name was on all the medical decision forms at my OB's office and the hospital, alone. I told my OB about the guardianship drama. She raised her eyebrows and made a note. If anyone tries to wave paperwork at us in labor, she said, we'll be calling you first. The real showdown came when Tyler brought Amanda to talk sense into me. I was on the couch, eating crackers and scrolling through baby name lists for the 1,000th time, when the door opened and both of them walked in. We need to talk, Tyler said. Amanda looked uncomfortable but determined. She sat across from me. Look, she said, I'm sorry if the legal stuff freaked you out. We didn't mean to scare you. We just were all worried. You're not exactly low risk here. We were trying to make things easier. For who? I asked. For you too or for me? For the baby, she said. If something happens, he shouldn't be shuffled around. He should have stability. My home is stable. My kids would be great siblings. Your mom is, she's sweet, but she doesn't have the bandwidth. I stared at her. You are talking about my hypothetical death like we're rearranging furniture, I said. Do you hear yourself? She flushed. That's not what I mean, she said. I assumed you'd be okay with it. You were so calm about the risk, I thought maybe you weren't taking it in. Tyler and I were just being realistic. I pulled the envelope out again and dropped it on the coffee table between us. Realistic, I said, would have been talking to me first. Realistic would have been asking what I wanted, not deciding for me and tracing my name. Amanda's eyes flicked to the paper, then to Tyler. I didn't trace it, she said quickly. Tyler said you had already signed something. The notary didn't think it was a big. Stop, I said. Both of you. I've already talked to a lawyer. This document is void. The law firm has confirmed in writing that I was not present. You can each try to blame the other all you want, but the fact is, you both participated in cutting me out of a decision about my own child. Tyler stepped forward. We were trying to protect him, he said. No, I said. You were trying to control what happens if I'm not here to argue, and you got caught early because you underestimated me. Amanda opened her mouth, then closed it. Tyler's jaw clenched. So what now? He asked. You're just going to raise him alone, keep him from my family, punish us for trying to plan. I'm going to have this baby, I said. I'm going to survive this birth. I'm going to file for legal separation after he's born. And I'm going to have in writing that no one signs anything for my son without my consent. His eyes widened. You're divorcing me over a piece of paper, he demanded. I'm divorcing you over what the piece of paper represents, I said. Over the fact that when you thought I might die, your first instinct wasn't to hold my hand. It was to find a replacement and make sure she had legal backup, with or without my permission. Amanda stood up. This is getting out of hand, she said. You're going to blow up your family over a misunderstanding. It stopped being a misunderstanding when my forged signature showed up in a lawyer's file, I said. You can leave now. She looked between us, shook her head and walked out. Tyler lingered. You're making a mistake, he said quietly. Nobody will ever love that baby like my family. I rested my hands on my huge, kicking belly. That may be true, I said, but they'll love him as grandparents and aunt and uncle, not as people who tried to steal my part on paper. He left. I locked the door behind him. A few weeks later, my induction day arrived. It was long, painful, and scary in all the ways birth is scary, but I didn't die. I didn't bleed out. I didn't vanish and leave a convenient vacancy for someone else to fill. I had a C-section in the end. I heard my son's first cry. I saw his tiny, squished face. I felt his warm body on my chest. Tyler was there. He cried too. He was good in the hospital, fetched stuff, changed diapers, took photos. For a moment, we looked like any other exhausted new parents. But under the hospital bracelet, I could still feel the mark of that forged signature. On the second day, while he was getting coffee, a social worker came by, part of the standard high-risk postpartum check. She asked about support, mental health, any safety concerns at home. I hesitated. Then I said, actually there is something, and told her a simple version of the truth. By the time we left the hospital, there was a note in my file. Patient has reported previous legal guardianship paperwork attempted without her consent. Any future documents regarding infant custody or guardianship must be confirmed directly with patient. Jordan helped me file for legal separation a few weeks later, once I could walk without feeling like I'd split in two. Tyler was furious, sad, guilty, defensive, everything all at once. In mediation, his lawyer tried to paint him as a nervous father over-preparing. Jordan slid the voided guardianship document across the table, along with the law firm's letter and my own notarized statement. This isn't preparation, she said. This is forgery and coercion. My client is still willing to share custody as long as her rights are respected, but any future paperwork will be reviewed by her counsel first. The mediator took off his glasses, rubbed his eyes, and said tiredly, I see way too many versions of this. We're still working out the details. But my son is thriving. He has my eyes and a stubborn little frown. He spends time with his dad on a schedule with clear boundaries. He will know his aunt and his grandma, but he will also know that his mother didn't quietly sign him away before he was even born. When I rock him at night, I sometimes think about that document, with its cold legal language about my potential death. Then I look at his face, feel his warm breath on my neck, and remind myself, I am here. I did not disappear, and nobody gets to write me out of his story with a pen. So what do you think? If you were pregnant, high risk, and found out your husband and his sister had already gone to a lawyer to make her your baby's backup mom with a fake version of your signature, would you stay and hope it was just panic? Or would you, like me, let that forged line on paper be the last line they ever crossed? Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, tell us whose side you're on in the comments, and subscribe to Reddit Story Vault for more full Reddit-style stories about relationships, toxic families, pregnancy drama, and legal revenge every day.